Hi, welcome. My name is Andrea. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for coming, and if you are returning, then welcome back. Now, what I explore on this channel is what it's like to enter motherhood later in life, from living child-free through your 20s and 30s to navigating the major identity, relationship, and lifestyle shifts that come with becoming a mom. Now, for me, I went from a career-driven, child-free by choice woman to a stay-at-home mom at 40. I am sharing the real, honest journey of that transition, and if that's something that resonates with you, please stick around. So today what I wanted to talk about was, is it possible to be child-free by choice and truly happy and fulfilled? Now, I feel like I have an interesting perspective on this particular subject because I was so adamantly child-free by choice my entire life. I mean, I told my parents as a young kid I was never having kids. I told my parents as a teenager I was never having kids. I went through that as a young adult, and that feeling really didn't shift for me until I was 39 years old. So I got to explore all of the kind of philosophical ideas around being child-free, and some of the, I would say, projections that maybe other people have on you when you do make that lifestyle choice. And so what I wanted to talk about today is, what were some of the perceptions that people had? What were some of the things that people said to me? And some of the realizations that I was able to have during this whole process. And it was a really wonderful journey, a really enlightening experience. And now I can tell you that as a mom, it's the most wonderful experience, and I wouldn't take it back for anything because my daughter is just an absolute joy. And I can tell you confidently that it is absolutely possible to live a happy, meaningful, deeply rooted life, even if you are child-free. So let's get into it a little bit. So here are some of the things that I heard pretty routinely as a person who is child-free by choice, and I was vocal about it. So the first one was, you will never truly be happy. Now, that is an interesting thing to say, that a human being, that their ultimate happiness maybe depends on whether or not you would have a baby. And I know that there are many people who both choose to have children and who do not choose to not have children, but through circumstances outside of their control don't have them. And the idea that those people couldn't be truly happy is kind of silly. So let's talk about, what is happiness? Happiness is something that I don't think you ever truly, you achieve it for moments, like you have moments of happiness and joy and contentment, but that deep-seated happiness and contentment and state of being is not something that another person can give you. It's actually something that you develop and strive for within your own being. It's kind of like meditating, in that finding true happiness is something you work for and work towards and continuously work at becoming better at, but maybe something that you can always practice, just like meditating. I don't think hardly anybody truly ever fully masters meditation, although you can absolutely get better and better and better with practice and over time. So happiness is just one of those things that is a result of both attitude towards what is happening to you in the outside world and gratitude. What are the things that are happening around you, for you, to you, with you, that you can take a moment and say, wow, I am so lucky and grateful that I got to experience, that I got to do, that I got to see, and taking those moments to appreciate the things that life really does have to offer. So can you be child-free or child-free by choice and be truly happy? And the answer is absolutely yes. And on the flip side of that, I would encourage people to not pursue maybe having children until you have a sense of your own inner happiness, because another person, whether it be a partner, a spouse, a friend, or a child, can't actually bring you happiness. The only person that can bring you happiness and contentment is yourself. And I'll be perfectly frank about this, that children, although a joy, are a lot of work, and they absolutely show you the areas of yourself where you need to improve. So if you ever want to see, a reflection of the things that you need to do probably better to develop yourself, there is no better mirror, at least in my experience, than you're a child. Because they will show you where maybe you lack patience and you should have more, or they will just show you the things about yourself that you maybe weren't aware of that you could do, that you could improve upon. So yes, can you be child-free and truly deeply happy? Yes. Can you have a child and still be unhappy because you haven't developed that sense of yourself? Yes. So I think having children is independent of whether or not you are or are not happy. The other one that I heard and I was like, oh, okay, this is a really interesting one. And I see where they're coming from, which is, if you don't have children, you'll never truly grow up. Now, this is an interesting one, because I would argue that you should wait to have kids until you have actually grown up. And what does even growing up mean? It's deciding for yourself what it is that you want and need in this life. So have you filled your own cup either personally or professionally? Have you seen the things you want to see? Have you found a life partner that you have found worthy of potentially having children with? And then also, have you gotten yourself in a state of life where you could bring on another person 100% dependent and take care of them with not only joy and excitement and curiosity, but without resentment? Now, one of the things that I have seen is that sometimes, and I saw this in my physical therapy practice, I've seen this out in the world, is that kids take up a lot of time, effort, and energy. And if you haven't put enough time, effort, and energy into yourself or into your relationship on the front end, you might find that it's hard to backfill the things that you need to make yourself feel happy and content when you have a child that's needing to draw from you. So part of growing up is not having the child, but it is putting yourself in a position, both mentally, physically, financially, relationally, where you have enough resources, effort, energy, curiosity to put that other little person's nurturing at the forefront of your priority list. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't do self-care, and it doesn't mean that you don't pursue some of the things that are meaningful to you, but it does mean that maybe you don't get to do the things that you got to do when you were child-free. Maybe you don't get to sleep in as much. Maybe you don't get to go last-minute wine tasting if that is meaningful to you. Maybe you don't get to, I don't know, get Botox if you want to breastfeed, right? Like, there's certain things that you would have to not only be willing to give up, but not even consider it a give up. It's just a thing you do because you want to do it, because this little person means more to you than any of these other things could. So if you have a kid before you've grown up enough to get those other things out of the way, then it just means you're not ready. However, having kids, and this is where I see the flip side of this argument, having kids absolutely causes you to reprioritize your life. Because let's say that you've gotten your cup filled and you've done the counseling and you've gotten the travel out of the way, and you've really strengthened the relationship with your partner, and you've really focused on developing yourself, and you have grown up enough to consider yourself in a position to have a child. However, before you have a child, you're still going to do things differently than you would have if you had a child, right? Because you're not going to have the same sorts of flexibility with time, or oftentimes resources. So you do shift in the things that you do and how you prioritize them once a kid comes along, no matter what. But I I would encourage, is because children are so precious, in my opinion, and they deserve to have the best of us, the best in nurturing, the best in our curiosity, the best in our patience, the best in our the best of us. They deserve to have the best of us as often as possible. And though I believe the best way to do that is to grow up first, and the way that you grow up is by taking care of yourself and filling your cup and getting all of those things that you want to get out of the way. Go on the adventures. Go do the things that are really meaningful to you. Because if you find that you have a child and you wished you were able to do those things that you're now not doing because you have to sacrifice because now you have this child, well, that's not fair to them. They didn't ask to come into the world. So get the things that you need out of the way first, to take care of yourself first, so that you are in a position to have the curiosity and the time, effort, and energy to put into a kiddo. The other one that I've heard is who will take care of you when you're old? This is a really interesting one because children are not an insurance policy, and they're certainly not a retirement plan. And I live in the United States, where it's not as common for multi-generations of family to live together and to take care of each other. So what I would urge people to consider, if you were ever thinking about having a child as a primary or secondary backup plan for elderly care, I would really, really encourage you to just come up with some other avenue first. Save your money, although I know it's easier said than done, and come up with a retirement plan. Get a really good financial advisor, and plan for your not only retirement but your elderly years, because chances are your kids are going to have their own life and potentially their own kids or their own priorities, and they may not have the resources to care for you in their elder years. Now, if they do, and it's a situation where the whole family wants to live together, and that's a beautiful thing, then wonderful. Oh my gosh, that's great. But I would never count on it, because that's a huge burden to put on a child, especially in a culture that doesn't necessarily promote that sort of, I guess, familial interdependence, right? Right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not saying that it's better or worse, I'm just saying that that's just the reality we live in this particular culture. So children are not a retirement plan, but if they're there for you in retirement and your elderly years, that's really wonderful and nice, and it means that you probably did a really great job as a parent. And the other one is, your life will never truly have meaning. And this is such an interesting one. As a physical therapist, I've treated a lot of patients, and one of my patients stopped me in the middle of my treatment once and said, "Andrea, please have children. Please consider having children." I was probably in my early 30s at the time. And she, like, her face was so concerned, and she was imploring me to really consider becoming a mom. And I thought it was really sweet at the time. And I told her thank you, and I appreciated her concern, but that we really needed to focus back on what we were in the appointment for. But I could see that she was worried, because one of the things that she said, she's like, "You will never know true joy or life's true meaning if you don't have kids." And I thought about this a lot. Like, can you have true deep meaning in your life if you don't have kids? And of course your life can be deeply meaningful if you don't have children. Now, I appreciate what she was saying, because I'm sure for a lot of people, one of the core, I guess, things that they do that absolutely brings their life deep meaning is raising incredible people and raising children. But raising children is not the only way to contribute meaningfully to the world, to society, to yourself. And finding deep meaning in your life is making sure that you're finding meaning in the thing and the things that you do and the people you serve. Now, for some people, I think the people they serve happens to be their children, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I consider myself an absolute servant for my daughter. I don't consider her, she's a young person right now, but she's not my child. I mean, she is, she's mine, right? But she is a future adult, and so it's my job to steward this person to become the most successful, most well-rounded, most capable version that she can be, while I have the opportunity to give her experiences and influence, and so that one day when she does go off on her own, she will be well equipped to handle the world. Now, is that deeply meaningful? Absolutely. But I also found super deep meaning in helping people recover when I was working full-time as a physical therapist. And I think there are other people that can find truly deep meaning either in their religious practice. Maybe they do an animal rescue. Maybe there's somebody out there that just really works for human rights and things like that. So I think that the thing that brings you meaning is not whether or not you can have a child or whether or not you have a child. A child in and of themselves can't give you meaning. It's what you do with your efforts and energies that make you feel like you are providing something bigger than yourself to the world, I guess, to the universe, to society. And so, yes, can you have a life of meaning without having children? Absolutely. Can you have a life of meaning with having children? Absolutely. So in conclusion, I just wanted to share that just because somebody is child-free or chooses to be child-free by choice doesn't mean that their life is somehow void. It just means that they have to find joy and happiness. They have to grow up. They have to find meaning in other things. And that's wonderful, because a child can't actually bring you those things without you putting something very meaningful from yourself into it. Because another person can't bring you meaning, another person can't bring you joy, another person can't bring you, can't make you grow up. Those are things that you do and you strive for and you work towards, but another person can't give you. So anyway, to all my wonderful child-free by choice people, I just wanted to share that it's not a selfish decision to be child-free by choice at all. I actually think it's a very thoughtful one, and I think people that choose to be child-free need to it is okay to embrace that, just as it is okay to embrace becoming a parent or anything like that. Both of those decisions are huge decisions. And yeah, that's really it. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If there's anything I missed or you thought, Andrew, you really should have touched on that, I would have loved to hear more about this. Please feel free to share it. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day and take good care. Bye.